and only finance doctor. We're talking about a gentleman that has his PhD in finance and economics, 26 years experience. So I want to turn this call over to the one and only finance doctor, Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Miss Tasha M Dyer, and happy Veterans Day to you tomorrow as well. Thank you for your service, Miss Dyer. So, I'd like to welcome everyone to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. So, for the benefit of the 111ers, let me explain to you the origin of this call. This call was aptly named a talk with the finance doctor, in which there was a deliberate intention to select that preposition with, so that you would know that this is a dialogue, an intimate conversation. Thank you, an opportunity for us to be able to have a conversation that we don't always get to have in the real world. Why is that? Well, personal finance is the only area of our society where the only people who provide us information about the products happen to be the same people who are selling them. So as a result, we have an opportunity to have a conversation about any and every concept, topic, issue that you could possibly encounter in your personal financial lives. Over the last 26 years, while you have been excelling in your area, I just happen to have been blessed enough to be exposed to every part of personal finance. And once we take personal finance and we apply the Bythewoodism to it, if you know what you're doing, you will always have a job. And if you know why you're doing it, you will always be the boss. When we Bythewoodize that, then we change personal finance into economic empowerment. And so when we decided to have a secondary title for this call, your RX for Forex, we understood that it is very common, if we're real about it, that we recognize that money is a very emotionally charged topic. So as a result of that, some of us come to the table, okay, let's keep it real. All of us come to the table with some sort of economic wound. So this is an opportunity for you and I to write a prescription together so that we can provide some healing for where we've been, we can appreciate where we are, and we can set the stage together as the collective going to where we desire. So welcome to a talk with the finance doctor. Let me begin by asking if anyone has any questions, comments, or testimonies. All right. So I would like to begin today speaking about interest rates. And the reason why I would like to talk about interest rates is because I noticed that that is a term, that is a phrase, that is a concept, that is a topic, that is an issue, that is a definition that I have heard mentioned multiple times over the past 3 weeks. And I know that oftentimes we humans have a tendency to hear something, but then not necessarily go deep into what it is. What does it mean? How do we understand? Whenever I make this point in front of audiences, I always use this as the perfect example that we sometimes study things with a conscious mind, surface type of scenario. How many times have you heard someone or you yourself say, I'm going to the ATM machine? Well, when you say you're going to the ATM machine, you're only thinking about it on the surface, because if you thought about it a little deeper, you think about the fact that ATM is an acronym that stands for automated teller machine. So if you're going to the ATM machine, you're going to the automated teller machine. So I said all that just to say that we hear about interest rates, but I think this is a really good time for you and I to take a macro, what's macro, big picture, and a micro, what's micro for the individual unit. Let's take both a macro and a micro view, and let's walk away from here 23 minutes from now, understanding to a deeper perspective what interest rates are. Now, let me say this, because there's someone who just heard me, who's in the financial arena, who understands interest rates and said, oh, well, I know interest rates. You do. But I think that one of the skill sets that we have in the BYOB market, the BYOB movement, is that we go deep. We take layers of things, because we know when we unpeel the onion, it allows us an opportunity to know things to a deeper level. And it also puts us in a better position, because every conversation we have, we discuss mindset. So if we're talking about interest rates, even though you have a solid knowledge of it, I guarantee you there's some things that we can garner from just having this conversation. So to start off this conversation, and let me pause. This is a talk with the finance doctor rather than a talk from the finance doctor. So if I say something and it makes you think of a question you didn't realize you had, stop me. My agenda, we do these calls twice a week. I will always have time for my agenda. Your questions always supersede my agenda. So you just stop me. My favorite sound on these calls is that rustling of the microphone, because when I hear that, I know what's about to go down. Somebody's household is about to get blessed, because anytime you ask a question, you're representing the collective consciousness of the person that stayed muted and did not even realize they had the question until you asked it. So let me say it again before I go on my interest rate agenda. Stop me if you have a question. Thank you. Now, to talk about interest rates, let's start off with a quick little economics lesson. Supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. We all know what supply and demand is. We know that supply is an upsloping curve. What do you mean curve? A curve is just a measurement between two things. Did you not hear Ms. Dyer say this morning that her child, her 6-year-old, asked every day, let's look at these charts? That's a curve. She recognizes that time and price, let's look at the relationship. That's all the curve is. It's just a relationship between two variables. So if the two variables that we're looking at, hear me, are price and quantity, how easy is that? What's price? How much something costs? What's quantity? How many of them are there? So if I'm looking at a simple graph of price and quantity, there are two curves that I'd like to talk about. The first curve is upsloping and it's supply. Why is it upsloping? Because the higher the price, the more we're going to be willing to offer. What do you mean by that? Well, if I am a professor and they call me and they say, we're going to pay you for this class and it's going to be $1,600, I'm going to say, never mind. No, thank you. Thank you for calling. But if they say, hey, we're going to pay you $10,000, I'll say, okay. So the higher the price, the more quantity of teaching that I will offer. This is so easy. Now, the second and final curve is downsloping. That's called demand. Demand simply looks at the same two things, price and quantity. Price and quantity. What's price? How much something costs. What's quantity? How many of something there is. So if it's downsloping, all that means is what you already know. If the price goes down, what happens to the quantity what happens to the quantity that you purchase? It goes up. Sam's Club, the price per unit is smaller, so you buy more. It's on sale, so you buy more. Quick example. I drink coffee every single morning. It's my vice. And because I live in Florida, I love that Cuban coffee, Cafe Bustelo. If it's not Cafe Bustelo, I laugh at it because it's not strong enough. So Cafe Bustelo costs $4.99 for a 10-ounce bag. That is a very fair price. I'll pay that all day. I go into a Spanish store, which is right next to my gym, and it's $1.99. What? I filled up my truck full of Cafe Bustelo. So what happened? The price went down and my quantity went up. They were laughing at me. Oh, senor, you eat so much coffee. I'm like, no, I'm just taking advantage of the sale. I'm a finance doctor, sir. I have to take advantage of the sale. The price went down, so the quantity went up. So I said all that to say this, supply and demand. When I look at supply and demand, there's a price. There's a price in the middle of supply and demand. Now, here's the real question. Supply and demand of what? Supply and demand of what? Of anything. Did you hear Ms. Dyer talking about all the things that the BYOB cash out can do? She mentioned every single financial market. It can do this, it can do that, it can make bow ties. She hit everything. Well, that's the way supply and demand is. Supply and demand hits everything. Whatever the product is, whatever you're selling, whatever's being bought, whatever the market is, there's a supply and demand of it. So here's my question. What if there's a supply and demand of money? Is there a supply and demand of money? Of course. You're on this call because you're participating in a financial market. So my question, excuse me, my comment is very simple. When we look at the product that is money, the product that is money, there are people who sell money. There are people who buy money. My only point is this. What is the price? What is the equilibrium price? What is the equilibrium price between supply of money and demand of money? Interest rate. Interest rate. So that's why I said those of you that understand interest rate, still listen to me. Because you can know what an interest rate is, you can analyze it all day, you can work in the mortgage arena, but not really go deep and think about what it is. Interest rate is just the price of money. It's how much money costs. So you mean to tell me that I'm going to sell this money? You ever bought a car before? Before the BYOB cash out strategy, when you used to finance cars, what did he say? I think he needs to say it again. Before the BYOB cash out strategy, when you used to finance cars, there was a situation where you would go and you would do the test drive, and after you finish test driving, you go to finance. And then finance would say, okay, how are we gonna pay? And then they would do the paperwork and they say, okay, we got you a rate of 6%. That's the price of the money that they're going to give you to buy the car. You're not buying a car, you're buying money. And you use the money to buy the car. 6% is the price of the money. So all I'm saying to you is interest rates are simply the price of money. Any questions, comments, testimonies about what I've said thus far? Great. I was at the mall about 2 weeks ago, and I have this thing that whenever there's stairs, I go up them and I go down. One of my little tricks, one of my little hacks to stay in shape. So going up the stairs, going down the stairs. Well, guess what? I bummed my little ankle playing flag football. I didn't tell y'all that because all you see is from here up. So my ankle's hurting. I'm at the mall, and this time I'm not gonna do the stairs. I'm gonna do the escalator. So when I got to the escalator, there was a lady and her child, and the child was about 8, and she was scared of the escalator. So I love the world. Come on, Martin loved the kids, but I gotta go. And so she's hogging up the escalator, and I need to go down the escalator. And I knew what was really going on. What was really going on was God was saying to me, see, you chose to take the stairs. You should have took the stairs. And now you try to do an escalator. I'm going to block the escalator for you. That's not the point. The point is escalator. So what is an escalator? An escalator is a set of stairs. And the set of stairs moves up or moves down. Watch this. Here's the best way to understand what interest rates are, because interest rates are an escalator. And at the bottom of the escalator is the lowest interest rate there could possibly be. Some of you have heard of the rate called the prime rate. The prime rate is the rate that banks are going to be willing to lend to their most creditworthy customers. You know, like BYOB cash out strategy understanders, BYOBers, those type of people, they get the prime rate. So you have to see it in order to be it. You have to say it in order to pay it. So bottom line is that's a very low rate, but there's a rate even lower than the prime rate, and it's called the discount rate. The discount rate is the interest rate that the Federal Reserve charges banks when they lend the bank money. What's the Federal Reserve? It is the system that handles the distribution and analysis of our macroeconomic world. So they're down with the banks. They're cool with the banks. It's like if you borrow money from your family member, they're either going to charge you no interest or just a little bit of interest. That's what the discount rate is. It's at the bottom of the escalator. Watch me, I'm going somewhere with this. So the discount rate is at the bottom of the escalator. So guess what happens when the Federal Reserve chairperson, think about how many times the trade whisperer has used the term central bank over the last 2 weeks. Central bank. Well, the Federal Reserve is our central bank. So the central bank comes on TV. The central bank has a red folder meeting. The central bank comes on and they say, we're going to raise interest rates. Guess what happens? The escalator goes up. So the prime rate, mortgages, bond interest rates, you don't have to memorize all that. I'm just saying all the rates that represent the price, that represents the equilibrium price between supply and demand of money, they're all on the escalator. So when they say rates are going up, bloop, the escalator goes up. Then they come and they say, hey, rates are going down, bloop, the escalator goes down. So all you have to do to understand interest rates is not memorize it, but conceptualize it. Not memorize it, but internalize it. So all we're saying is the lowest rate is at the bottom of the escalator that the little girl wouldn't let me get on because she was scared. So if that's at the bottom of the escalator, when they say rates are going up, everything shifts up. When they say rates are going down, everything shifts down. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Why? I get the what. I get to this escalator. I get he was a little pissed because he wanted to go down the escalator and the little girl was scared and he had to wait and he knew that was a message that he should be taking the stairs like he committed to. He understands that. But I get now that the escalator represents rates going up and rates going down. And all rates go up and all rates go down based on this escalatoric example that Dr. Bythewood has given us. But why? Why am I doing this? Here's how I want you to look at it. What does the trade whisperer say the market does? She says the market either goes up, it goes down, or it's sideways. Guess what? Economies do the same thing. Makes sense? The Forex market is just a microcosm of the overall economy. So, you know, if you take a drop of water out of the ocean and you analyze it under a microscope, it has the same properties molecularly as the entire ocean. So that's where the concept, how you do one thing is how you do all things comes from. Literally, whatever we do from a slice perspective represents the entire pie. So all I'm saying is the same thing happens with the economy. Now watch this. The economy, if it's sideways, I don't have to take any action. Nothing I need to do in terms of monetary policy. By the way, raising and lowering interest rates is a part of monetary policy. Broke that down about a month ago. Go to the YouTube channel, see that training on monetary policy. What I'm saying right now is this. If the market's going sideways, if the economy's going sideways, I don't have to take any action. So the only two things that will make me, the central bank, the Federal Reserve, the raiser and lower of escalatoric interest rates, the only thing that will make me take action is if the economy's going up or if the economy's going down. Now, people used to ask me this all the time. So what do you think the economy is going to do? Well, guess what? You can always answer that question for the rest of your life based on what I'm about to say for the next 2.5 minutes. Here's how it works. The economy is up. It's booming. Everything's rolling. Now, if the economy's doing well, this is what happens. If you and I all make more money, we all get bonuses, we all cashed out, we all have more money than we had, say, 30 days ago. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to go to the mall, we're going to buy stuff. But guess what? Does the mall have time to prepare for us coming to the mall at the same time? Nope. There's a delay. There's no delay for us. As soon as we get the extra money, we're going to the mall. But the mall has to have a lag to be able to say, hey, people want more stuff. We need to order more inventory, and we have to wait for the inventory to come. So I said all that to say this. The demand is always going to be faster than the supply. Guess what happens when demand is faster than supply? Inflation. Inflation sucks because inflation means prices go up. And when prices go up, we don't like it. We don't buy a whole bunch of Cafe Bustelo. And the government knows that inflation is something that makes people not want to participate in the government. If you go back and look at every single president for just the history of our country, every time there was high inflation, we hated the president. That's just how it works. That's not a Republican Democratic thing. We're an emotional people. We don't like inflation. So when inflation is bad, we blame the government. So because of that, when the economy's moving and flowing and moving too fast, guess what we're going to do? We're going to raise the interest rate. Because if we raise the interest rate, guess what we just did? We just made everything more expensive. Cars more expensive, houses more expensive, student loans more expensive. We just slowed down the growth because some of you are not going to finance that refrigerator because the interest rates went up. So we're going to raise the interest rate and it slows the economy down and makes it be more stable. That's so simple. I thought y'all said economics was hard. I've been saying this for 26 years. Economics takes easy, simple, logical things, makes them harder. Now let's do the other side. So now the economy sucks. It's going down. It's declining. So we need people to buy stuff. How do we measure the government? Gross domestic product. How do we measure the economy? Gross domestic product. What makes gross domestic product bigger? When we spend money. That's what the stimulus check was all about, so that you would spend more money. So what we do in situations like that is we lower the interest rate. So we lower the interest rate because we want the economy to speed back up. Guess what I just did? I made cars cheaper. I made houses cheaper. I made student loans cheaper because I lowered the interest rate. So basically all I'm doing is making the monetary policy using the fact that the interest rate is the price of money, and I'm using it to make the economy do what I want it to do. The economy's going too fast, gotta raise interest rates. The economy's going too slow, gotta lower interest rates. So nobody who can hear my voice will ever have to wonder how the economy is doing for the rest of your life. All you have to do is look at the interest rate. Interest rates are low, the economy sucks. Interest rates are high, the economy's booming. That's it. That's it. If you know what you're doing, you will always have a job. You'll know why. If you know why you're doing it, you will always be the boss. Now, watch this. This movement is aptly named Be Your Own Bank. Be Your Own Bank. And one of the reasons why we call it Be Your Own Bank is because we want to make sure that you understand that financial institutions oftentimes put in infrastructure based on the fact that we don't think about some of the things that we do financially. We do now. We get to have this conversation twice a week. We understand it now. We're saying on a daily basis that we're the big bank take little bank. So we're putting ourselves in that position where we're understanding. Now watch this piece of life snatched from the headlines of Craig Bythewood's real life that reinforces why we need to have conversations like this and we need to understand this. Now, I had a client that I spoke to today who wanted to understand how they could take some stock that they had and use it as collateral for a loan. So what we did was we had a conversation with the bank to try to talk about loan opportunities. So I let that person lead the conversation and I just stepped in when it was necessary. So when the conversation was kind of going back and forth, I stepped in and I said this. I said, excuse me, so can you just tell us what loan options you have that fit into this particular person's situation? I said loan options. The person responded with this. Well, the lines of credit that we have available right now are the following. Let me do that again. I said, the finance doctor, I said, can you please share with us what loans you have available right now? What are the loan offerings? What are the loan products that you have available right now? And the response was, well, the lines of credit that we have right now are the following. Now, you can always tell what banks feel about the economy by what products they offer. I know you see me smiling, but you don't get it yet. I'm about to break it down to you. Now watch this. I just told you that for the rest of your life, you can know immediately whether an economy is good or bad by looking at the interest rates. Don't you think if I know it? Don't you think if all you know it now? Don't you think that if each one of these rectangles now understands that? Don't you think that banks do as well? Now watch this. Loans have fixed rate interest. Loans have fixed rate interest. What does that mean? That means if you take out a loan, the interest rate, I need y'all to hear me. There's no analyzing right now. Just hear me, because I really want you to walk away with this. Now, loans have fixed interest rate. And a fixed interest rate means that over the life of the loan, the interest rate will stay the same. But lines of credit have variable interest rates, which means that the interest rate on the loan will change with the market. So I said, can you please explain to us what loan offerings you have right now? And she said, well, the lines of credit we have right now are the following. If lines of credit are variable, actually, you know what? Before I even break that down, let me tell you about another conversation I had in the early 2010, 2012 area. The economy was doing very well around 2012. It responded from the 2008 depression, and it was doing pretty well. I had a similar conversation just like this with another client in 2012. And what the bank said happened to be the same bank. They said, here are our loan offerings. So if they said loan offerings in 2012, and they said lines of credit today, think about this. If lines of credit are variable and interest rates are low, if my client takes a long-term loan with that bank and it's variable and rates are low, what will happen to the interest rate over the life of that loan? It will go up. And when the rate goes up, who does that benefit? The bank. So literally, when rates are high, they only offer loans because they're fixed. So if the interest rates are high because the economy is booming, then I will receive the same interest rate over the entire life of the loan. But if interest rates are low, Ms. Clayton just put in the chat, home interest rates are low. So of course, because they're low, I'm only going to offer lines of credit. And if I offer you a line of credit, then you'll take this lower rate now, but it will rise over the next 20, 30 years. So what I'm saying to you is, you need to understand the value of the Be Your Own Bank movement, because we're doing more than just teaching you the BYOB cash out strategy. We're doing more than making you put affirmation in the chat so that you will begin to believe that you deserve to have the wealth and abundance. We're training you into changing the way you think. We're giving you an opportunity to put yourself in a position of strength, because one little situation like that, I said loan, you said lines of credit. Now watch this. Do you have to get a loan in 2012? Nope. The bank works for you. You can get whatever you want. Do you have to get a line of credit in 2020? Nope. The bank works for you. You can do what you want. But what I'm saying to you is a simple 30-minute conversation about interest rates now gives you the power to be in any situation and think about the way this works. Of course, they're offering me a line of credit because it's adjustable and rates are low. Of course, they're offering me a fixed rate loan because the economy's high and rates are high. So how do I take this and use it for action? How do I actionize this conversation? There are two things you do. Number one, you increase your level of awareness. You go deeper than just saying ATM machine. You think about what you're saying, and you think about, I had a boss when I was 27 years old who used to always say, ask the second set of questions. Used to get on my nerve, but now I say it to my kids, he was right. Ask the second set of questions. Ask the second set of questions. Ask the second set of questions. So let me ask you a question, banker. Is that fixed rate or adjustable rate? Oh, I bet you they won't know. They just doing what they're told. They're told to push lines of credit. That's why she corrected me and said lines of credit. Well, excuse me, is that an adjustable rate or is that a fixed rate? Let me check. come back and say, well, it's adjustable, but it's a very low rate, blah, blah, blah. Well, I want a fixed rate because rates are low right now. Boom. And if they give you any feedback, I treat banks the way I treat girlfriends when I was in high school. Go find me another one. Just kidding. I'm a girl dad. So, questions, comments, testimonies about interest rates.
You know it. My God. Listen,
Brownlee.
I've been sitting waiting for you to talk about interest rate. I have a card right here that's been on my desk because I knew you were going to talk about it. This card says brand new and all for you grand opening CD offer. Okay, brand new bank open, never heard. And on the other side, it says 7-month CD special, 0.50% APY. When I saw that, I just laughed because I thought that, almost cuss. The heck with that. I'm my own bank. Who cares about that that amount of interest rate on a CD? So it's sitting here waiting for the proper time for me to ask you about interest rates or have you talk about it. And hear you talk. I'm telling you, if this isn't collective consciousness, and if this isn't confirmation that and the wisdom that we've gotten tonight is so powerful. I mean, we're walking like giants after hearing all this good information. Man, I thank you so much, man of God.
You are very welcome.
Just being aware.
Thank you, Ms. Brownlee. Please make sure that every single rectangle here, you come to this exact call on Thursday because I'm going to break that CD down to a greater depth. Please make sure you have that with you, Ms. Brownlee. I don't know why I say that. You know, you're going to be sitting right here at 9:57 waiting on me.
All right, you're right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please bring that with you on Thursday. Questions, comments, testimonies. Questions, comments, testimonies about interest rates.
It's not, well, it's about the entire teaching. This is Dornetta out of Fort Worth, Texas. Dr. Bytewood, I just want you to know that tonight, just listening to you, it just clarified the entire variable as well as fixed rates that they have out here. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing that and for asking us to ask the second question. Ask the second set of questions. That's good stuff right there. You know, I'm sitting here laughing. I'm telling you one thing. You show up tonight. I love your bow tie. You got it going on tonight and you're teaching us, and I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for that, Ms. Peyton. That was powerful. Last chance. Questions, comments, testimonies.
Dr. Bytewood.
Yes.
This is Mr. Sutton, AKA Cash App. How you doing? All right. I tell you, Doc, tonight it was extraordinary. You really broke that down to a misdemeanor, and I just really thank God for you. This is something that I even teach in my own classroom. So I just want you to just continue to keep doing what you're doing. I'll be on Thursday night, ready for the CD teaching.
I appreciate that. So what grade do you teach, Mr. Sutton?
I teach high school.
Love it. Love it, Cash App. All right. And just for the benefit of 111ers, I call him Cash App because Sutton Bank is the bank that's affiliated with Cash App. Questions, comments, testimonies. Okay, Mr. Rogers, do you have some final comments for us, sir?
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you are excited about the fact that you've been able to sit at a financial savant's feet tonight, I need you to drop an 888 in the chat. And folks, if you're not excited, I'm going to get excited for you because once again, you are very paramount to our ultimate desire. You know, we come in this forum, not for us, but to empower you that you can go and reproduce after your own kind. You know, I'm reminded of Andrew. He got so excited that he had an encounter with Jesus Christ that he went and got his brother. He didn't need to explain anything. He just said, hey, you need to come and see a man who told me everything about myself. Mm-hmm. And this gentleman right now, ladies and gentlemen, you got to appreciate and understand that there's so many people that in each of our sphere of influences that needs to be in this setting just as Ms. Brownlee said, to be made aware. Imagine this. Let's roll back the dials of time. And what if you would have had this conversation 5 years ago? How different would your personal financial understanding be? Let's roll it back a little bit further. Let's roll it back 10 years ago. How different would your community look, your place of fellowship? So, folks, this is why we are so committed to the world's largest economic empowerment movement in the history of mankind. Unequivocally, I know we are shifting the atmosphere. We are creating a overflow process that for the families that are represented, your voice is designed to now shatter the stronghold of financial bondage and financial miseducation. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now equally responsible for ensuring that this movement goes throughout the earth. And the earth is your vessel, your loins, your voice. So if you are with me tonight and you're excited about your personal responsibility, this is personal evangelism, right? Compelling one to come to sit and hear a message, this good news, this gospel of financial economic empowerment. So if you are resonating with what I'm saying to you tonight, I need you to drop a 777 in the chat. I need a 777 in the chat. And obviously we know 777 is our call sign, but it's complete. And it's complete 3 times. That's that derivative. 3 times, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? The harmony, the unity. And as the harmony in the heavens is between the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you're now invoking that right, that privilege in the earth through your voice. You are now kingdom citizens. You have a dual citizenship, and you now have a responsibility to manifest every aspect of its totality in your life. So I speak that to you. I pray that you receive it in the manner which is given. And ultimately, we have a responsibility. We are stewards of the manifold grace. You've been graced out of all the 330 million plus people in the United States. For such a time as this, you've been given the power of Deborah to fight as a warrior. You've been given the spirit of Esther for such a time as this, that much people will be saved through your voice and you activating and walking in the totality, reminding yourself that every place that the sole of your feet shall tread upon, that land has already been given. So now all you have to do is show up, for the battle is not yours, it's the Lord. And he's already gone before you and made every crooked place straight. So I charge you that we would all operate in the understanding that we're ready to charge hell with a water pistol. And we can squirt out that flaming fire. So now go forth. Back to you, Dr. Bythewood.
Thank you very much for those comments, Mr. Rogers. And thank you, everybody, for being a great audience and really absorbing this information. So let's seal our Tuesday with prayer, knowing that we will see each other again Thursday at 5 a.m. Again, happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans. Thank you for your service. Those of you that have family members, please let them know that we said happy Veterans Day on behalf of the BYOB Bank movement. Heavenly Father, we come to you right now and we thank you for this conversation. We thank you that we have the opportunity to dialogue in a way which will be beneficial to all those that we come in contact with. We thank you for the people that we're going to tell this story to, who are going to benefit as well. We thank you for the people we're going to bring to these calls on Thursday, so that they too can put themselves in a better position of strength. Thank you for the information. Thank you for the way in which it was received. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for each rectangle and the family that they represent. We are thankful, we are appreciative, and we are grateful. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful Tuesday evening, and we will see you on Thursday morning at 5 a.m. This will officially end this call.